ओम सर्व वेदांत सिद्धांत गोचरम तम गोचरम गोविंदम परमानंदम सद्गुरुं प्रणतोस्म्यहम्. We started this classes on Viveka Chudamani last Wednesday, and certain things I wish to repeat today because of their importance. And first thing first, that is the name of the treatise, Viveka Chudamani. Let us think of the two words separately, and then we'll see the meaning of the combined word also. Now, Viveka, as we usually know it, is included in the Sadhana Chatushtaya. माताजी शुरू कर दीजिए. Which is included in the Sadhana Chatushtaya. And the treatise is definitely not about Sadhana Chatushtaya only. So, क्या मतलब ये? क्या हो गया पता नहीं. मैंने भेजा 626321 626321. आपको उससे भी नहीं खुल रहा है, क्या पता है लिंक ही रहता है हमारे पास. अब उपाय नहीं मेरे पास. अब मैं शुरू कर दिया है ना. मत अब छोड़ दीजिए. The treatise is definitely not about Sadhana Chatushtaya only. It is a wonderful treatise, as I was telling, Heart of Shankara, and he treats with the end of spiritual life, beginning to end. Everything is discussed. It is difficult to call this book Prakarana Grantha. It is an independent entire treatise. And the speciality of this book, as I was telling last time, is that the description of Jivan Bhakti vividly. So, the Vivek which is included in the preliminary means giving us adhikar to listen to Vedanta cannot be the meaning of the word Viveka here in the name of the book. So we have to think of what is this Viveka. Now, I would straight away say the Viveka between the apparent and the real. We today are not what we really are. So many crusts have come upon us. We feel we are the body, which we are not. We feel we are Indriyas, which we are not. We feel we are the mind, which we are not. Even the I consciousness of ours today is Kshanika, changing, that an individual, that is we are not. So whatever we are not has to be understood as we are not, and then removed. That is the Viveka which is meant. One thing. Secondly, throughout our spiritual life, many times it happens as if we feel we have reached the goal, but we have not yet reached the goal. So we have to find out what is still wanting. That is Viveka. And that has to be fulfilled. Whatever, fulfilled in the sense, whatever crust has remained on our personality has to be removed. So, till we reach Brahman, till we reach our own real nature, this Viveka has to continue. So it is not only the Viveka of the preliminary Viveka, not only Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka or Satya Satya Vastu Viveka, but Viveka between what we are and what we really are. And whatever the difference has to be felt clearly. And once we feel the difference clearly, then that has to be mitigated. That which we are not has to be removed. That is the whole of Vedanta. And so, as I was telling, many people do not believe in Jivan Mukti. That is wrong. So that idea has to be corrected. So Viveka between correct ideas and wrong ideas, Viveka between what we really are and what we today are, this is Viveka. Now the second part, Chudamani. As I was telling on Wednesday, it is impossible if we think of Shankara's personality. A person like him never likes bragging. That my book is the best book on Viveka, it is not at all the meaning. Once we understand what is Viveka, Viveka is a continuing process. Viveka means neti neti. Viveka is a continuing process. And this continuing process is the Chudamani, is the crushed jewel of all the spiritual merits which we have. Because it will make us reach from where we are up to the point of where we should be, or where we really are. So this process of discriminating, removing that which you are not continuously till we reach the goal, is it not the crushed jewel of all our spiritual effort, of all our spiritual merits? That is Viveka Chudamani. So Shankar does not say that my book is Viveka is superior to other books. And as I was telling, we do not find also other books. What he is telling is that in our life, in our spiritual life, at every step, we must apply, is this my real nature? We must apply, have I reached the goal? We must discriminate continuously between what we are and what we should be. And then we reach the goal. And so, this Viveka, a continuing process, is the crushed jewel of all other sadhanas. So Viveka is not only the preliminary sadhana, but it is the crushed jewel of all the sadhanas that we are with. So this is the name Viveka Chudamani. The other name appears to me, it does not appear to me at all. It appears to me very cross, a very superficial meaning. So every word in Viveka Chudamani, we have to understand by going as deep as we can. Every meaning of every word is very, very deep. I remember here, in the Shri Krishna, the great master, Leela Prasanga, Swami Sardanji says that what Shri Krishna told, at the first we understood something. As we grew in sadhana, we understood it deeper. And as we are reaching the goal, we understood it deeper and deeper and deeper. So this first meaning is all right, but it is not at all right. The real meaning we should take. So that is the first consideration which I wanted to repeat. And I think today I have explained it better than Wednesday. Now, the other Anubandha Chatushtas all become included in this simple word Viveka Chudamani. And what is the goal of life? Jivan Mukti, as I was telling you. What is the effort to be done? Atma Satya Anubodena न संकल्पयते यदा अमनस्ताम तदा याति ग्राह्य भावे तदग्र. So the mind qualitatively the mind has to change. Today our mind divides the ultimate reality into a bipolar world, subject and object world. But even though we perceive subject and object, our mind should point out the oneness between the subject and object. The identity, the reality of the subject is the same as the reality of the object. So this is the means by which you are proceeding. And the chief means here in Viveka Chudamani, another wonderful thing which people do not take so seriously, moksha sadhana samagram bhakti reva gariyasi. Bhakti eva gariyasi. So bhakti is the absolutely essential, supreme consideration for reaching the goal of life. Shankara is declaring. And most of the Shankarites, which I have heard, they say, no, 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 no. It means that, that means this. You know, Vedanta believes in Bhaga Lakshana. Once you have used a word, you cannot give it up and substitute it by something else. If bhakti means Swaswarupanusandhan, you should explain what is Swaswarupanusandhan. And Shankar does not say Moksha Sadhana Samagram Swaswarupanusandhanam Gariyase. He says Bhakti Reva Gariyase. So that word must have some meaning. We'll come to that place. But I am telling you the very speciality of this book, that first he describes all the sadhana chatushtayas, and then independently he brings this word bhakti. And after that he says such disciple is qualified to go to the Guru. So only after bhakti is understood, and all Vedanta speaks of it, whether we like it or not, whether we believe it or not. What does Shvetashvatar tell us? Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tata guru tasyaite kathita yartha prakashante mahatmana. One who has supreme devotion to the Lord, Dev, supreme devotion to the Guru through which the knowledge is coming, same, then only is qualified to experience the truth spoken of in the Shatashatar Upanishad or any Vedanta. So, these are the some special features which I am describing. That it is such a work. That means that the realization takes place in our heart. All the scriptures talk about it. It never takes place in the brain, please. Brain is like a computer. You know about computer? Garbage in and garbage out. So if the brain is filled up with wrong ideas, wrong result will come. It is just a computer. The heart, Swami Vivekananda has said, heart is the seat of the brain. That means, I'll give a small example here. One girl was asking her father, Father, people study botany by brain. People study mathematics by brain. What is the place of the heart here? The father told, how they decide whether I have to study botany or mathematics? Is that by the brain? First, the decision comes in the heart that I want to study mathematics, or I want to study botany, or I want to take the spiritual life, and then the brain functions. So heart is the seat of the brain. And that is where Vivek Chudamani lays emphasis on. So we should not be mistaken by our preconceived notions of Vedanta. And that is why Viveka, there also the Viveka has to be applied. So Viveka is the Chudamani. So that is the very significance of this book. And I was telling again and again that such glorious word Shankar defines Samadhi, Shankar explains Viveka, Shankar explains Jivan Mukti. Now, let us come to the Vandana. See how marvelous is that Vandana? Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. I was trying to explain to you, Gocharam literally means available to the senses. But this word being adopted and the meaning remaining will be Bhagalakshana again. That available to, that will be the meaning, Gocharam. Available to not Indriyas, available to not human mind, available to the sentences used in the Upanishads, that means sentences used by the rishis to express, communicate their experience to us. And those are the only means of our entering this field of Vedanta. The rishis experience the absolute reality. Rishis experience Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Rishis experience how what happens after coming out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That is Jivan Mukti. And those rishis explain to us what is to be followed. And so, Here the same Viveka takes place. We must understand that the knowledge does not come by any normal human effort. You have to do effort. You have to penetrate the meaning, the intended meaning of what the rishis are talking. Unless we are able to penetrate, unless the other way around, we may say, unless we allow the rishis experience to penetrate our heart, we cannot realize. So, function of the heart is there everywhere, guhayam nihitam, and the only source of the knowledge of Brahman is the sentences used by the rishis. Now there are various sentences, and all the sentences drive at a particular sentence, and that is called the Siddhanta Vakya. Siddhanta Vakya, that means the sentence giving the conclusion of that particular portion of the book. So after argumentation, similes, and so many processes, we come to a Siddhanta Vakya. One simple Siddhanta Vakya I quoted last time, and that is the Taittiriya Upanishad, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, which leads directly to realize Brahman, indicates the way to realize Brahman. So, Brahman or experience of Brahman, experience of our own real nature is available only to when we go through the sentences, conclusive sentences used by the rishis. And throughout the Vedanta, throughout all Upanishads, these sentences are spread out. There is uh, another thing I'm mentioning here. There is a rigid misconception that there are four Mahavakyas. Any counting is not allowed in Vedanta. That is the business of Sankhya. In this Viveka Chudamani, in this very Viveka Chudamani, if you refer to Shlok 249, Shankar is telling Mahavakya Shatai, he, hundreds of Mahavakyas is talking about. Why four? Only because Vedas are four. So this poor calculation has to be removed. So many misconceptions will be thrashed out by Shankara's Viveka Chudamani. Not four, not at all. Hundreds of Mahavakyas he talks. Mahavakya Shataihi in Viveka Chudamani, Shlok 249. It cannot be misunderstood in any other way. So the better word is Siddhanta Vakya. Other ordinary Vakyas leading to Siddhanta Vakya, and there is a Siddhanta Vakya. We know about Mahapurushas. For example, Swami Turiyananji. We know about many Mahapurushas who used to say that now I read the scripture, let me concentrate on Siddhanta Vakyas and I will reach the Samadhi. So, the Siddhanta Vakyas, the conclusive sentences used by the rishis, is the only source of experience of the Absolute entering our heart. Tam means the reality. Agocharam. Agocharam is not available to Indriyas, not available to mind, not available to body, not available to so-called eye consciousness, temporary eye consciousness changing every time, then available to, when we go through the sentences, it comes to us. That is the meaning. That don't seek buddhi, don't seek Vedanta by buddhi, agocharam. It is not available to brain. If we equate buddhi by brain, it is not available to the brain. The very meaning of the buddhi will change. That we shall, as we come to that, I will explain that also. Buddhi in the scriptures never means the process of rationalization. This is not the meaning of the word buddhi. Buddhi, nishyatmika vritti. What is nishyatmika vritti? Our daily nishyas change daily. How that can be the final nishyatmika vritti? But all these nishyatmika vrittis start from high consciousness. I decide this. I think this, and so long as we do not realize Brahman, this I, the Jiva, is the most Nishchayatmika Vritti. That means Bodha, our present consciousness. Behind our thinking, behind our feeling, behind our will, we have a consciousness. I am so and so. And this so and so thinks that I am Brahman. This so and so thinks that I am a man. So and so thinks I am a woman. So and so thinks, feels, makes sankalpas and all that. And so this Bodha, the I consciousness, is the meaning of the word buddhi used in the scriptures. When we use the word buddhi, we mean the rational process. And not that always through rational process also we do not reach that. We reach there only by the experiential process. So this is the Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam. Now there is a name to that reality. There are infinite names to the same reality. Though the nearest name is Om, but there are infinite names to that reality. And what is the name? Govinda. Govinda is the name of that reality. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam Govindam. Govinda is the name of that reality. Govinda means one who is master of his senses. One who is master of the senses of the world. Who is master of the senses? One who is not deluded by the senses, one is not affected by the senses, one who can move the senses as he likes. What can do with that? Only the supreme reality has the power to move the senses, not our mind, not our puny mind and intellect. So Govinda is the name of the supreme reality. But this Govinda, in Shankar's case, he found him as his guru. Govindam, I am going word by word. Govindam means absolute reality. We know two forms where this name was applied. And one is Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he was also Govinda, and one is Shankara's own Guru, Govindapad, he was also Govinda. So this is another important thing, please. Mundaka Upanishad tells us, Brahma with Brahmaiva Bhavati. So some wrong conceptions come to our mind. How infinite can be in this man of 5.5 feet or 6 feet? Infinite does not mean vast. Infinite means one without a second. And one without a second can only be consciousness. And if it comes fully in a man, then he is infinite. When we say, study Sri Krishna, as Sardan Swamiji has described, when we study the minutest activity of Sri Krishna, minutest saying, we find that it leads us to the infinity. We cannot understand Sri Krishna's action if we try to take him as a man. But when we try to see the universal result of that, we find that, oh, that is the infinity only which is expressing like this. So, Govinda becomes the Guru, Paramanandam. And that is the Paramanandam. That means small pleasures will immediately lead us to misery. Happiness of the mind leads us to unhappiness of the mind. But there is an Ananda which is our own nature. There is an Ananda which is our own nature. So that supreme Ananda is one with the reality. Whether you call it existence or consciousness or bliss. These are the three ways to look at the absolute reality. So Govindam appears to be a person, but it is fully nothing but infinity, and the nature of that infinity is that permanent bliss. Sadguru. This only can teach us. One who has realized the reality is become one with the reality. And one who has become one with the reality can communicate that experience to everybody who wants. So, this is Govinda. You may take its actual pranam to his own Guru, Govindapad, or you may take it to mean that the reality realized by many people. Innumerable people are there who have realized the reality. And from such a person becomes the Guru to Shankaracharya, to everybody. Everybody, the Guru is nothing but God Himself. That means one person who has realized the reality has become identified with the reality and he alone can be the teacher. So, Govinda as a person become the teacher. So, Govindam Paramanandam Sadguru, real teacher. Sadguru means real teacher. There is a saying, so many people know that Guru mile lakh lakh chela na mile koi. So we will find gurus on the street. We do not want those gurus. Those who can change our consciousness by simple association with them, by simple teaching, by simple showing, expressing in their life, they become the gurus. They become the real gurus, and we are interested in them. And when we meet such a guru, what happens? Pranatosmya, our head automatically bends down, automatically bends, bends down quite a lot. Pranatasmi asmi. Why? When it bends down, head means ego, I consciousness. When this bends down, then the reality will flow into us. Then the Guru's knowledge will come to us. Then the Guru's experience will be transmitted to us. So it is an essential condition of reaching the reality, of realizing the reality, is the bowing down to the Guru, which is Brahman itself, which is Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. That is the pranam. Now Shankar takes us step by step, gradually. We must know what we have got. We must acquire what we have not, so that we reach the reality. And so, Jantu Nam Narajanma Durlabam. Jantu means an ordinary living being is called Jantu. Now there are some people say 84 lakhs of species. We do not know how many species are there, but we know they are innumerable, almost uncountable, though they are maybe finite. Amongst all of them, this Nara Janma is special. We are talking of Vedanta. Huh? We are not listening to some Puranic stories. So, Narajanma, what is the difference between Narajanma and non-Narajanma? Can we find the difference? All other Jantus are interested in living the life. They do not want to die. Other than that, they do not have anything. Other than that, they do not have anything. They may be experts. Ants are expert in social organization. Elephants have tremendous power and memory. Lion has so much power. The one bird builds his nest in such a beautiful way that architects study that structure. But none of them have the power to change their I consciousness. Their I consciousness is limited to not trying to live forever, which is not possible. Now, when the man is born, in man there is the faculty of understanding, there is the faculty of experiencing, there is a faculty of realization. This faculty of realization is only in man. And this deliberation is only in man. I shall do this or I shall not do this. then he comes to a conclusion, then he does that. This deliberation, I consciousness, is only in man. So, man's life is wonderful. Why this shloka? Why jantunam narajanma durlamam? He is making us aware that only men are going to read this. When I say men, I do not mean men, women in that sense. Human beings only are going to read this. So they should understand that they are such lucky people. They are such fortunate people. All human beings must understand that they are so lucky people. They should never miss the opportunity given to them. लख चौरासी फेरे फिरकर सुंदर नरतन पाया कमल मुख राम भजन को दिया. So we must understand that this Narajanma is given to us only for the purpose of realization of God. That is what we find in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna from page 1 to the last page. Ishwar Labh Jivaner Uddeshya. So there cannot be any other aim. This we must understand that by great fortune we are born as men. Let us utilize this to reach the reality. Atah Punstam, that I told you that Punstam does not differentiate a male being from a female being, far from it. Today only we were reading Mandukya Karika, and in one place, Gaudpad says, Ye kechit, Shankar explains Striya Dayo Api. He is forced to admit that women cannot be barred from Brahmatna, cannot be. So Punsam cannot be that male body. They say male body has some social advantages, male body may have. But is that the main thing? How many male attempt to realize God? If you go that way, women are more, if you go by numbers, women are religious than men. Can we deny that? And so, this cannot mean male being at all. Every word in Vivek Chudamani has so much depth you have to enter. Punsam is a man, it's an effort. And he will only get something. Tato Viprata. Viprata means literally, superficially, Viprata means knowledge of the Vedas. Knowledge of the Vedas is called Vipra. Veda Pati Bhaved Vipra. That is the definition. Janmana Jayate Shudra Sanskara Dvija Uchate Veda Pati Bhaved Vipra. So Vipra means one who has theoretical knowledge of spiritual matters. Veda Pati. Now, we see hundreds of examples. Will Shankar deny those examples? Was Latu Maharaj Swami Adbhutanandaji, did he read the Vedas? How many of us are reading Vedas these days? So all of us will become disqualified. That cannot be the meaning. So one must enter the very spirit of the meaning and it should tally with the facts of the worldly life. How many of us are reading the Vedas? Then should we think that we are all disqualified? Not at all. If by reading or if by our education we come to the conclusion that God realization is the only aim of life, then we are Vipra, not otherwise. After reading books and books, Sri Ramakrishna says reading books are like granthis. The knots of the heart increase, ego increases. And so, Vipra cannot mean ordinarily one who has read the Vedas or even one who is educated. One may say one who is well educated. And well educated is that person who feels that I must realize God. So we have to take Vipra in its right spirit and we have to take Vipra. No, examples are plenty. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's elder brother Vishwambar, as soon as he completed his education, he went away to the forest. So That education is proper in the Taittiriya Upanishad. The first one is Shiksha only. And it ends in telling us that God realization is the only aim of life. So, when this conclusion is reached in the mind that I want to realize God, I do not want anything else, that is called viprata. Ta. Ta means the quality of, the nature of. So Vipra may be there without Viprata, and Viprata may be there without being Vipra. The Brahmin, if you take the name or learned, the quality of being learned, quality of being educated, Vidya Vinayana Shobhate. That means that is Vidya which leads us to seeking Brahman. That is Viprata. Tasmad Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. Here again the same problem will come. If we take Vedika Dharma in the literal sense, who is following Vedika Dharma these days? Absolute have become many things of the Vedas, the Karma Kanda of the Vedas. Can we find that? Can we go back there? And what about the non-Indians? What about the foreigners? Are they all condemned? Not at all. I remember here one young person from Bosnia came to me when I was in Rishikesh. And he said, I want to learn from you. I asked him, you first tell me, what is your mind today? He said, I have read many books. I have done a lot of sadhana. I said, that I am not interested in. As the result of reading many books and as the result of sadhana, what is the present state of your mind that I want to know? He said, the world which we see is illusory, that is very clear. What we feel about ourselves is illusory, that is very clear. But what is the reality and how to realize it, that is what is my mind today. Then, is it not Viprata? Man from Bosnia mind. Is it not Viprata? Vedika Dharma Marga Parata? He has followed a course of life which has led him to same thing. He has studied in such a way that it desire for God relation has come and he has followed. Hundreds of ways are there. How many patterns of life are there? You understand that? This word I learned from my Guruji, pattern of life. One boy came to the ashram at the point where his marriage was already fixed. And in 3 days he understood the aim of life is God realization. And to him, my Guruji is telling, don't be afraid, go ahead, marry. Marry word he did not use, he knows, so go ahead, don't be afraid. And you will realize God. Then he said, I clearly see that the pattern of your life is different. So Vedika Dharma Marga Parata, can it be a particular path of life? So many patterns are there. Some people live the unmarried life, some people sannyasis, some people grahasthas, some women, some men, some housewives, some working women. All these different people, if the condition is that if you follow a particular path of life, has it led you to feel for Brahman? Has it led you to hanker for Brahma realization? Then that is Vedika Dharma Marga Parata. Parata means taking that to be supreme in life. Taking the Vedika Dharma Marga Now, let us make it more broad. What is Vedas? Utterance of the men of realization. Now, Shri Ramakrishna has taught in the gospel how to live the life. Is that not Vedika Dharma Marga Parata? When Shri Ramakrishna's disciples, they guide each individual to live in that way. Is it not Vedika Dharma Marga Parata? In this respect, Holy Mother's teachings are really wonderful. To somebody, she is telling, you should become a sannyasi. To somebody, she is telling, you should marry. So, to some sannyasi, is telling, you should never go to your house. To other sannyasi, is telling, once or twice you can go. Adhikari Bhed. So, that course of life which leads you to hanker for God realization is Vedika Dharma Marga Parata. For Viprata, we can, now I have been talking more of the ideal. Let me give some concrete examples. So for Viprata, I may say, if you study Shri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga, Shri Ramakrishna Vachanamrut, Swamiji's complete works, that is Viprata. And if you follow that routine prescribed by your Guru, you are Vedika Dharma Marga Parata. Then Vidvattam Asmat Param. This is another word. Vidvattam should not be taken as a scholar. I have seen plenty of scholars who are thorough in all the philosophies of the world, and their life is a Vishaya Sakta life. There was a professor, a Shastri in Nagpur, and he was master of all Indian and Western philosophies, but his life did not show that. So, Vidvatvam means not scholarliness. In this respect, I may add a personal thing. Some people I do not know how they call me a scholar. I feel I'm insulted. Then what is Vidvatta? Vidvatta. Vid means knowledge. Vidvat means having knowledge. And Vidvatta means the quality of having knowledge. The gati of the mind which contains knowledge. So what is Vidvatta? We come back to the same thing. Shankaracharya's example is very bright example. When he completed the study of the Vedas, he understood that and has to go to Guru and realize God. So here again, Vidvatvam means knowledge of means of God realization. That is Vidvatta. Knowledge of means of God realization can be called Vidvatta. And he's telling step by step, Vidvattam Asmat Param. Then what it leads to? Atma Anatma Vivechanam. This is the Vivekchudamani we are coming to. We should be able to discriminate what I am really and what appears to be I. Anatma means not I. That is not the sufficient meaning. It may be not I, it appears to be I. And that discrimination is essential. No, this table is not I understand. What is the use? This body is not I if I understand. If my mind is not I if I understand, then that is Atma Anatma Vivechanam. Till the end of life, this Atma Anatma Vivechanam leads us to the Atma Jnana. Once these Anatma things are removed, Atman will shine. So, all this man's life, effort, educated, proper life, course of life, knowledge of the means of realization should lead us to continue. This is a continuous process. should lead us to the tendency of discriminating between what I am and what I am not. Atma, Anatma. Now, Atma has another implication also. What is real and what is unreal? Added to that, what I am and what I am not. Real and unreal, or what is Chit and Jada, that is not sufficient. This is my real nature, this is not my real nature. So, all this should lead to, then it shows the direction. What is the direction of being a Brahmin? What is the direction of having a proper lead of life? What is the direction of having knowledge of the means of life? That one continuously discriminates between what I am and what I am not. Then, Swanubhavo. This is not an intellectual process, though it appears intellectual. Unless it leads to your own experience. Now, at this point, I must tell you something more. Please, I do not want to take names. There is a school, there is a sannyasi sampradaya in India. And the guru who started it. In every pravachan in Rishikesh, he used to tell, there is nothing called meditation, there is nothing called samadhi, there is nothing called anubhav. You understand Vedanta from us for 3.5 years, you are a Vedanti. And I met in one Sabha in Trichy a few years back. There, one of the representatives. And he's telling at the end of his lecture, one should not expect any mystic experience. Is that has any meaning? Is that Vedanta? It is a fool's paradise. If you tell people you need not do anything, listen to, they will be happy. Fool's paradise. Experience. From the Viveka Chudamani, I'm telling something personal there. They had a book, and one man was attending their classes for 10 years. He came to me when I was in Rishikesh and said that when I see Ramakrishna Mission books, the emphasis is on experience. These people do not believe. And he gave me their Viveka Chudamani book. I said, from this Viveka, they have selected 108 shlokas. I said, I will give you 108 shlokas from Viveka Chudamani dealing exclusively with Dhyan, Samadhi and Aparukshanava. What about that? So, Swanubhavo, unless you so Anubhavo. That means your guru might have experienced. Have you experienced? Unless you experience yourself, what will happen? You have studied Viveka Chudamani. What is the use? Unless you experience what is taught in the Viveka Chudamani. So, all this is step by step. Huh? So, all this becomes valid only when we get our own experience. May not be today, tomorrow we'll get it. If we have not got up till now, this study of Viveka Chudamani will lead us to that. Shankara genius is talking to us in this Viveka Chudamani. So, what is the guru? If you do not have a human guru, this Viveka Chudamani is our guru. Shankaracharya is talking with us in this Viveka Chudamani. He is ready to communicate his experiences to us, but we must get that experience. One thing more important is that we must understand the importance of experience. I remember once when my Guruji was taking classes in Nagpur, somebody attended 1 or 2 classes and is asking, is it possible to get those experience? If it is not possible, why we are born as men? Why we are calling ourselves as sadhakas? So, one thing we should hanker after is change of consciousness. That is called experience. Experience is not some black and white and pictures. And I remember here one funny thing. When Yogi came to my Guruji and sitting, he said, "Do you see light?" My Guruji switched on. Just behind him was the switch. Yes, if I want to see light, I switch on. He said, "I'm seriously talking." My Guruji said, "I'm seriously replying." So experience does not mean this some faltu, some super sensuous thing sticking to you, some sukshma matter sticking to us. That sukshma matter leads to spiritualism, not spirituality. Not interested in only sukshma matter. Sukshmatama, we must experience God. Our level of consciousness should change. That is Swanubhava. Then what happens? Suppose for a moment, I experience Brahman or experience something like Brahman, I must be stable into that. Brahmatmana Sansthiti. Brahma Atmana Sansthiti. That means my permanent consciousness should be Brahman is my reality. Brahma Atma consciousness means Brahman is my reality. Really, Brahman is what I am. In this state, if he continues, that is the final goal. The final goal, all the steps leading to that final goal, Narajanma, Punsam, Viprata, Vedika Dharma Marga Parata, Vidvattam, Atmanatma Vivechanam, Swanubhavo, Brahmatmana Samsthiti. Brahmatmana Samsthiti is Mukti, freedom, freedom from all the bondages. That is the Brahmatmana Samsthiti. Now, he says, this is not an easy task. Shata Janma Koti Sukruter Punner Vinalapyate. This little funny thing here, because he will tell us that good works will not lead us to that. That he will tell. But here he says that unless we have hundreds of crores of works, no, unless we have done punyas, unless we have done righteous activity through hundreds and crores of works, we will not come to mukti. Now, how to know? I will tell one argument. Some sadhak is there, he wants to become a sannyasi. Some elderly people in his family. He's saying, do you know, it requires many lives to realize God. The sadhak says, how do you know that this is not my last life? So where do you count from? We do not know. The meaning only in this, implied meaning in this is that you should consider very lucky if you have got all of them. You should consider that you have great luck. We generally say, if I got devotion, I will say, oh, I must have done some great punya in my previous life to come to this guru. I must have done some virtuous things. I must have helped people to come to this path. So, in that sense, we have to take not that karma, good karma will lead us to mukti, no. But the meaning is that we should consider ourselves extremely happy, lucky, if we have got this Narajanma Durlabham leading to Atmanatma Vivechanam and Brahmatmana Sansthiti, which is called Mukti, if we can go up to that, we should think ourselves to be the greatest, luckiest persons in life. Now, Shankar sums up all this in 3 words. All these steps, we need not remember. 3 things he tells, 3 things. And an important point also comes there. Here is telling not possible unless we have earned merit in hundreds of births. But now in the third shloka, Durlabham Trayameva Etat Devanugraha Hetukam Manushyattvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Sanashraya. These three alone, he says. After giving a big list, he summarizes and says these three things alone are rare to get, and they are only as a result of God's grace. Here again the same point. If God's grace is not there, what we shall do? Sri Ramakrishna has told, God's grace is always there. You have to raise the mast of your ship so that the proper wind catches and you can go. But the point here is that we should feel that if we are on this path, it is not our merit. If we are on the right path, it is not our credit. If we are on the right path, it is God's grace. So the value of this is God's grace. But the important point here is somebody asked me that in Sri Ramakrishna's literature we always see God's grace. Does Shankara talk about it? I said, here. In the scriptures, plenty of places. And some people even go to the length to tell that in Vedanta there is no Ishvara. We were wonderstruck by hearing that. One of my friends, one sannyasi of the Ramakrishna mission, had a deep devotion in his heart. And equally mad he was for Vedanta. But when he heard that in Vedanta there is no place for Ishvara, he became baffled. And he asked me, is it true? I said, absolutely rotten. Devanugraha hetukam, Shankara is telling here. Devanugraha hetukam. The reason for this series in our life is the kindness, compassion of Lord, of God on us. How do you say God is not there? Anyway, we'll take up this third shloka again in the next class. I hope that day I spoke with too much feeling, so the speed was too much. Today I hope I have cleared all those points and we have proceeded also. 1, 2 and third shloka we have touched, which we can take in the next class. Om सर्ववेदांत सिद्धांत गोचरम तम गोचरम गोविंदम परमानंदम सद्गुरुं प्रणतोस्म्यहम् ओम शांति 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 हरे ओम तत्सत् श्री राम कृष्णार्पण।